And at this time, I'd like to ask my dad to join me on stage and invite Mayor Michael Bloomberg to come up and accept the David Rockefeller Bridging Leadership Award.
Thank you, Peggy. Mike, Mr. Mayor, as one of your long-term friends and advisors, I couldn't think of anyone who would be as well qualified to receive this award this evening. And of course, it gives me special pleasure because it is so related to my darling daughter, Peggy.
Thank you, Dad.
Mr. Mayor.
Thanks for those kind words and for this wonderful award. I'm not sure I deserve it, but those of you visiting from around the world, I wish you a warm welcome to New York City. This is the world's most international city. We speak more than 200 languages. As mayor, of course, it's required that I speak in all of them. And I could prove it, but I don't like to show off, so I'm going to avoid that right now. Seriously, it's great to be here this evening with a group that's done so much to improve lives around the world and have a chance to applaud Peggy for her leadership. I've been a big believer in this organization and what it does. And I founded Bloomberg LP a long time ago, and we've been a big supporter of Synergos. So it's good to see all of you here to lend your support to an organization that does tremendous work. And one thing I've learned through experience in the public and private sectors and in philanthropy is that making a difference in people's lives is perhaps the most satisfying, rewarding thing you can do. And I think it's fair to say that in this city, few people have made as big a difference as David Rockefeller and his entire family. As a businessman and as a statesman and as a philanthropist, David has always had this uncanny ability to bring people together in pursuit of a better world. And he's a person that I have always looked up to, inspiration in my own philanthropy, and that really does make this award especially meaningful to me. David has been a great ally for our administration, especially by supporting many of the public-private partnerships we put to work to solve complex problems here in New York City. As I think all of you know, public-private partnerships have really been at the heart of our efforts to improve schools, to support the arts, to green our parks, to expand economic opportunity, and to help entrepreneurs get their ideas off the ground. And one simple reason why these partnerships are successful is that private dollars allow us to take risks and be innovative in ways that we always can't do with public funds. So it really is encouraging to see how Synergos and the people in this room are forging those kinds of partnerships to tackle complex problems. These partnerships can have an especially big impact in an area that's been a key focus of my own philanthropy, and that is improving public health. Our foundation, as Peggy mentioned, is working on a number of places where we can make a difference. Smoking cessation is one of them. If we don't do something this century, 1 billion people will die from smoking. We've worked on traffic safety. Traffic safety will be the 5th largest killer in the world in 5 years because of China and India going from bicycles to motorcycles, motor scooters, and automobiles. And there's just no end to the list of things where private philanthropy can really make a difference. And we've been very pleased to be able to partner with the Gates Foundation to try to wipe out polio. It's down to 3 and possibly 4 countries. And if we can eradicate polio there, you would eradicate a scourge that has been with us from as long as we have any medical records whatsoever. So far, we've committed a lot of money, I guess, in some senses, but it is, in the sense that I think about it, it's the best money I've ever spent. Somehow or other, when you read about some researcher doing something or somebody delivering a service and helping people, you just have this glow and you just think, you know, I'm just so lucky to be in this world, to be an American, to be a New Yorker, and to try to help other people. And when I go out and I have to raise a lot of money for a lot of different causes, I always start by making my own gift, and then I find it easier to go and to ask each of you. And I've already given some money here, so if you're interested, Peggy will be all over you, I am sure. We have a lot in common with the approach of Synergos and around the world. We provide financial support to partner organizations that in turn work with community organizations and local governments to implement programs. And in addition to funding, we serve in an advisory role. We both provide technical assistance, capacity building, training, and strategic development. And I'm very happy to say that in many cases, what we've done and what Synergos has done have had real concrete success stories. You only have to look at the tobacco initiative. When we banned tobacco smoking indoors, or where people are working was technically the way we did it, in New York City, there were an awful lot of skeptics, and in fact, when I would do parades and we went by a bar, I got a lot of one-fingered waves. But nevertheless, today I think it's fair to say nobody would roll it back. Every big city in America has gone smoke-free. All of Latin America, all of Western Europe, and we're actually starting to make some progress in Asia. So it's had an enormous impact, but there's still an awful lot more to do. Today, more than 1.2 billion people in 30 countries are protected by effective tobacco control policies, and that's more than double the number that were protected when we began our tobacco partnership 6 years ago. And over that period, 19 countries where we supported efforts have passed smoke-free laws because of our willing to fund some of the efforts to convince people to do it. On road safety, we keep working with local authorities, and I'll just give you one example. We're working with local police in Hyderabad, India, to dramatically increase enforcement of drinking and driving laws. In Vietnam, we convinced the government to pass a comprehensive motorcycle helmet law that saves thousands of lives. Motorcycle deaths are down something like 30%. And that when that law was introduced in '07, nobody thought that the Vietnamese would follow it. I've been to Hanoi, and every single bicycle and every single motorcycle and every single motor scooter that goes by, people are now wearing helmets. Tens of thousands of lives and uncountable injuries. We're in a race against time in all of these things, and we've got to make sure that we get to young people before tobacco companies do, that we get to young people before they go out and buy a gun. We get to young people before they go out on motorcycles and bicycles at an age where they just aren't mature enough to know that alcohol and driving don't mix and that you have to be responsible when you're driving. But I am optimistic that working together we can tackle all of these problems and build a more equitable and sustainable future. And when it comes to philanthropy, I've always said that the real reality of great wealth is that you can't take it with you. And so the ultimate in financial planning is to bounce the check to the undertaker. You have to think about that for a minute, but it's a good strategy. Seriously, I believe we all have a responsibility to make a big difference, and I'm encouraged by the work you're doing. And I think every time I've ever been with David and David Jr., the talk always gets around to philanthropy and how we can better use the resources that somehow or other we were lucky enough to have in helping those people who weren't that lucky. And I think there's no question that partnerships like ours with Synergos is fostering bringing people together in every sector, and it's going to be a key part of the future as we work to build a better world. So tonight's a chance to build more of those partnerships. I want to thank you all for supporting the organization. I also want to thank Peggy for this award and for being a tremendous force for good.